find somewhere comfortable. You don't have to focus on anything. You don't have to absorb every word or remember a single thing. Just let the words come to you the way warmth comes, slowly, without effort, settling into the spaces where the day has left you tired. If tonight is hard, you don't have to explain that to anyone, not even to yourself. You can simply be here in the quiet with whatever you're carrying. We're in no hurry. Tonight, we're going to talk about something that a great many people carry in silence, something that has been with humanity for as long as humanity has been here, though for a long time nobody quite had the words for it. We're going to talk about depression, not in a clinical way, not in a way that asks anything of you, but gently, as a way of understanding, as a way of saying, if this is something you know, you are not strange for knowing it. You are not broken, and you are not alone. So let the weight of you sink into wherever you're lying. Let your hands go heavy. And let the words arrive softly, the way light arrives on a winter morning, unhurried and without demand. There is something almost tender in the fact that the oldest word we have for depression is not a clinical term at all. It is a word borrowed from the color of the sky before a storm, from the feeling of water that is too deep and too still to see the bottom of. The ancient Greeks called it melancholia. Melan meaning black. Chol meaning bile. A shadow in the body, they said. A heaviness that the body itself was producing somewhere deep and unreachable. It is a strange and rather beautiful thing that the people who first tried to name this experience reached for darkness and depth, not weakness, not failure. Darkness and depth. Hippocrates, the physician whose name still echoes through every medical school in the world, wrote about melancholia with a kind of careful attention that feels, across 25 centuries, almost compassionate. He noticed that it was not simply sadness, it was something more persistent, something that did not lift when the circumstances that might have caused it had passed. He thought it was physical. An imbalance in the body's humours, an excess of something dark and cold. And in that he was wrong about the mechanism, but he was not wrong about the instinct. He was right that it lives in the body. He was right that it is not a choice. Later, in the year 1621, an English clergyman named Robert Burton published a book so enormous and so strange that it is difficult to describe. He called it The Anatomy of Melancholy, and it ran to nearly 1,500 pages. He filled it with poetry, with philosophy, with case studies, with his own confessions. He wrote it, he said, to understand his own condition, to hold it still long enough to look at it. He wrote that melancholy was both a torment and, in small doses, a kind of companion to the thinking mind. That it had been present in philosophers and poets and scholars throughout history. Aristotle had thought something similar. He noticed that many of the most gifted minds of his era seemed to carry a particular heaviness. He did not see this as a coincidence. He wondered, with genuine curiosity, whether something in the depth of feeling that made a person sensitive to beauty or meaning might also make them more vulnerable to darkness. None of this is to romanticize what is, for so many people, a genuinely painful way to live. But there is something worth holding, quietly, in the long history of this experience. The fact that it has always been here, that it has been written about, theorized over, painted, and wept through by human beings in every era of recorded history. That if you know this feeling, you are part of a vast and ancient company, not a broken one, an ancient one. Depression is one of those words that gets used in many ways. People say they're depressed when they're disappointed or sad or having a difficult week. And those feelings are real and they matter. But what we're talking about tonight is something distinct from ordinary sadness, and it's worth taking a moment to understand the difference, not to diagnose or to categorize, but simply because understanding something, even a little, can make you feel less like a vast and formless dark. Ordinary sadness has a shape. It tends to have a reason, or at least a direction. It moves. It changes. It responds to comfort, to time, to a conversation with someone who loves you. It is part of the natural rhythm of being alive, the low notes in a piece of music that give the high notes their meaning. Depression is different. It is more like the music slowing down altogether, like the instrument itself becoming harder to play. Not just a feeling of sadness, but a kind of heaviness that settles over everything, over thoughts, over the body, over the simplest acts of daily life. Getting out of bed, making food, answering a message from a friend. Things that once felt ordinary begin to feel like enormous efforts, and there is often no single reason that makes sense of it. That absence of a clear reason can itself become a source of pain. If nothing is wrong, why do I feel this way? The honest answer is that something is happening. Something real and measurable, not imagined, not invented, not a failure of willpower or character. Something is happening in the brain and the body, and it has been happening in one form or another to human beings for as long as there have been human beings. Clinical depression, what doctors now call major depressive disorder, is defined, broadly, as a persistent low mood or loss of interest lasting at least 2 weeks, accompanied by other changes in sleep, in appetite, in energy, in the ability to concentrate, in the way a person feels about themselves. That definition is useful for clinicians, but if you are lying here tonight and some of that sounds familiar, what matters more than the definition is this: the experience is real. The weight is real. And it is not your fault. There is something else worth knowing, something that gets lost in the popular understanding of depression. It does not always look like weeping. It does not always look like someone who cannot get off the sofa. Sometimes it looks like someone who gets up and goes to work and answers emails and makes dinner and seems, from the outside, entirely fine. Sometimes it looks like irritability or numbness or a strange flatness, the sense that things which used to matter no longer quite reach you. Sometimes it looks like exhaustion so deep that sleep doesn't really touch it. Sometimes it arrives as a kind of background static, a grey frequency running beneath every other experience, not loud enough to name, but persistent enough to wear everything down. If any of that sounds like something you recognize, it is worth knowing that what you are experiencing has a name, and a biology, and a history, and a great deal of research devoted to understanding it. You are not making it up. You are not being dramatic. You are not weak. Sigmund Freud wrote about this in his own way. In 1917, in an essay called Mourning and Melancholia, he noticed something that still feels true, that in ordinary grief the world feels empty. But in melancholia, it is the self that feels empty. There is a kind of turning inward of something painful, a sense not just that things are hard, but that one is somehow insufficient, worthless, a burden. That particular quality, the way depression speaks in the first person, in the voice of self-accusation, is one of its most recognizable and most unkind features. And it is worth saying clearly that voice is not telling the truth. It feels like the truth, with a conviction that can be overwhelming. But it is a symptom. It is the depression speaking, not reality. For a long time, the most common explanation for depression, the one that appeared in pamphlets, in television advertisements, in the way doctors sometimes explained it to patients, was the idea of a chemical imbalance. Too little serotonin, perhaps. A brain running low on something it needed. That explanation was not entirely wrong, but it was incomplete. And the fuller picture, the one that researchers have been slowly assembling over the past several decades, is considerably more interesting. Depression is not one thing happening in one place. It is a complex, layered change across multiple systems in the brain and body simultaneously. And understanding even a little of it can help the experience feel less like a mystery and more like something that is at least, in some sense, knowable. There is a region deep in the brain called the hippocampus. It is ancient, evolutionarily speaking, curved like a small seahorse, which is, in fact, what its name means in Greek. The hippocampus is involved in memory, in emotional processing, in the ability to imagine the future. And research using brain imaging has shown something remarkable and, in a way, quietly hopeful. In people who have experienced chronic depression, this region can become smaller over time. The brain, under sustained stress and under the particular neurological conditions of depression, can actually lose volume in this area. That might sound troubling. But there is a counterpart to it that matters. The hippocampus is also one of the few regions of the adult brain where new neurons can grow. New cells. The brain, even under difficult conditions, retains the capacity for renewal, and many of the things that help with depression, exercise, certain medications, learning new things, sleep itself, appear to work in part by encouraging this growth. The hippocampus can recover. The brain is not fixed. It is, even in its most depleted states, quietly reaching toward repair. There is another structure worth knowing about. The amygdala. Another ancient deep part of the brain, roughly the size and shape of an almond. The amygdala is the brain's alarm system. It processes threat, fear, emotional intensity. In people with depression, the amygdala tends to be more active, more reactive. It fires more readily at things that feel threatening or painful. This helps explain something that many people with depression describe, the sense that everything feels heavier, more loaded, more fraught than it seems like it should. A small criticism lands like a verdict. A minor setback feels like evidence of something profound. The amygdala, turned up too high, interprets the ordinary world as dangerous. And then there is the prefrontal cortex, the front of the brain, the part that is involved in reasoning, in planning, in the regulation of emotion. In depression, the connection between the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala can become dysregulated. The calming, contextualizing voice of the thinking brain becomes harder to hear. The alarm keeps ringing, and the part of the mind that might say this is not as catastrophic as it feels, has less influence than usual. None of this is a character flaw. None of it is a choice. It is neuroscience. It is the brain, doing its best under conditions that have become genuinely difficult. There is also something called the HPA axis, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, which is the body's central stress response system. In depression, this system can become overactive, producing elevated levels of cortisol, the hormone associated with stress, for long periods of time. Sustained high cortisol is hard on the body and hard on the body and hard on the brain. It is part of why chronic depression is physically exhausting in a way that sleep alone cannot always repair. The body has been running a low-grade emergency for a long time. Of course it is tired. And then there is something that researchers have only more recently begun to understand clearly the role of inflammation. Up to a third of people with depression show elevated levels of inflammatory markers in their blood, proteins that the body produces when it is fighting something, when it believes it is under threat. A 2022 review in the journal Molecular Psychiatry found that these inflammatory pathways are not merely a side effect of depression, but may in some cases be a driver of it. The immune system and the mind are far more deeply connected than was once understood. What happens in the body, in the gut, in the blood, in the tissues, reaches the brain, and what happens in the brain reaches the body. This is why depression so often arrives wearing a physical disguise. Headaches that don't quite go away, a heaviness in the limbs, digestive discomfort, back pain with no clear structural cause. The body and the mind are not separate systems. They are one continuous, deeply interconnected thing. And when one part of that system is struggling, the whole of it feels it. There is something in that understanding that feels, to me, like a kind of relief. If you have ever wondered why you feel so physically tired when what you are dealing with is supposed to be about mood, this is why. The tiredness is real. The physical weight is real. The body is carrying something alongside the mind, and it is genuinely heavy. There is a particular cruelty in the relationship between depression and sleep. Because sleep is one of the things the body most needs when it is struggling. And depression, with a kind of perverse precision, often takes that away. Around 3/4 of people experiencing depression have significant difficulties with sleep. Some cannot fall asleep. Their mind will not quiet. They lie in the dark and the thoughts come. The familiar ones, the ones that circle back and back, picking over the same ground without resolution. Others fall asleep easily enough but wake at 3 or 4 in the morning with a sudden, sourceless dread and cannot find their way back. Others sleep for long hours and wake feeling more depleted than when they lay down, as though the sleep itself is not reaching the places that need it most. All of these experiences are real, and all of them have a biological explanation. Sleep is not a single state. It is a carefully orchestrated sequence of different stages, each with its own brain activity, its own function, its own contribution to the body's repair. And in depression, this sequence is disrupted in ways that are now well documented. One of the most consistent findings in sleep research on depression involves something called REM sleep, the stage of sleep most associated with dreaming, with emotional processing, with the brain's work of making sense of experience. In people with depression, REM sleep tends to arrive earlier in the night than it should. It tends to be longer and more intense. The eyes move more rapidly. The dreams, when they are remembered, are often more vivid and more emotionally charged. This sounds, on the surface, like more dreaming, which might seem like a good thing. But the quality of this REM sleep appears to be compromised. The emotional processing that should happen during healthy REM sleep, the gentle, nightly work of integrating experience, softening the edges of difficult feelings, does not seem to complete itself in the same way. The brain cycles through the motion without fully arriving at the restoration. Meanwhile, the deep, slow stages of sleep, what scientists call slow-wave sleep, characterized by long, rolling delta waves moving through the brain at a pace of less than 4 cycles per second, are often significantly reduced. This deep sleep is where the body does its most fundamental repair, where growth hormone is released, where the immune system strengthens, where the brain consolidates memory and clears the metabolic waste that accumulates during waking hours. Without enough of it, the body wakes depleted in ways that feel almost cellular. A tiredness that is not about hours slept, but about the quality of the sleep within those hours. And then there is the circadian rhythm, the body's internal clock, the deep biological pulse that tells us when to be alert and when to rest. Depression frequently disrupts this rhythm. The timing of the body's temperature fluctuations, its hormone releases, its natural cycles of sleepiness and wakefulness can all drift out of alignment. This is part of why the mornings can feel so particularly heavy for many people with depression. The body's internal dawn is delayed. The system that should be saying now is the time to rise is quieter than it should be, or arrives later than the actual morning demands. There is something almost poignant in this. The body, in its disrupted rhythms, trying to find its way back to a timing it has lost. What is also true, and this is worth holding gently, is that the relationship between sleep and depression runs in both directions. Poor sleep does not only result from depression, it can also worsen it, deepen it, make recovery harder. A night of fragmented, unsatisfying sleep makes the amygdala more reactive the following day. It reduces the prefrontal cortex's ability to regulate emotion. It elevates cortisol. It makes the world feel more threatening, more hopeless, more grey. So the depression disturbs the sleep, and the disturbed sleep feeds the depression, and the cycle turns. Which means that anything that helps restore more restful, deeper sleep is not a small thing. It is not a luxury or a distraction. It is genuinely therapeutic. It is working directly on the biology of what is happening. There is one more thing worth saying before we move into the quieter part of tonight. Depression carries with it a particular kind of loneliness. Not just the loneliness of isolation, though that is often part of it, but a more internal loneliness. The sense that what you are experiencing cannot be fully translated into words that another person will understand. That if you tried to explain it, you would sound either dramatic or irrational or ungrateful for the ordinary goodness that exists in your life alongside the darkness. That the people who have not felt it will look at you and see someone who seems fine, and the gap between how you seem and how you feel will widen into something that is easier to leave unspoken. If you know that particular loneliness, I want you to know that it is one of the most commonly described experiences in depression. It is not unique to you. It is not evidence that you are beyond understanding. It is a symptom, like the fatigue and the disrupted sleep, of what is happening in the brain. The way depression turns down the volume on connection, on pleasure, on the sense that others could possibly comprehend what is happening inside. Aaron Beck, the psychologist who developed one of the most effective treatments for depression in the 20th century, described something he called the cognitive triad. 3 interlocking patterns of thought that depression tends to generate: negative beliefs about oneself, negative beliefs about the world, and negative beliefs about the future. I am inadequate. The world is difficult and unforgiving. Things will not improve. These 3 beliefs, when held simultaneously, create a closed loop. Each one reinforces the others. Together, they constitute something like a prison of interpretation, where all evidence is processed in a way that confirms the darkness. The important thing Beck understood, and this is the insight that made his work so transformative, is that these thoughts feel like perceptions of reality, but they are actually products of the depressed mind. They are, in a very precise sense, symptoms, not conclusions. This is also why the voice of depression is so convincing. It does not announce itself as a symptom, it announces itself as the truth. It says, you are seeing clearly now. You are seeing yourself and your life without the flattering distortions of hope. But this is the illness speaking. It is the amygdala turned too high. It is the prefrontal cortex quieted by exhaustion. It is cortisol running at levels the system was not designed to sustain. It is a brain doing its best under conditions that have become genuinely hard. You are more than what depression tells you that you are. That is not a platitude. It is a neurological fact. There is also something worth knowing about what helps. Not as a list of instructions. This is not the moment for that, but simply as a gentle reassurance that the path out of this is not as narrow as it might feel from inside it. Exercise, even gentle and brief, has been shown in recent research to be as effective as antidepressant medication for mild to moderate depression. A 2023 review in the British Journal of Sports Medicine found this, and it is a finding that tends to surprise people because it seems too simple. But the body moving is the body speaking to the brain in a language the brain understands at a very deep level. It is not a cure. It is not a replacement for whatever care you need. But it is real, and it is available. Connection matters. Not in the sense of forced sociability, of pushing through the preference for solitude when that preference is genuine and protective, but in the sense that the nervous system, at its most fundamental level, is regulated by other nervous systems. We are not designed to carry our heaviest things alone. The presence of someone who is simply warm and unhurried, even a voice in the dark, even words on a screen, can shift something in the body that is real and measurable. And sleep. Sleep, which depression so often steals, is one of the most powerful tools the body has for its own repair. Not a passive absence of waking, but an active, complex, deeply biological process of restoration. Every night that the brain can move through its full sequence of stages, through the light drifting of early sleep, down into the slow, deep waves, and through the dreaming work of REM, is a night the system has had a chance to do what it is built to do. You deserve that. Whatever you are carrying tonight, whatever the shape of the weight that brought you here, you deserve the rest that your body and your brain are trying to find their way toward. It is worth saying, simply and clearly, before we move on, if what we have talked about tonight feels close to home, please consider speaking to someone. A doctor, a counselor, a person you trust. Depression responds to care. It is not a permanent state. It is not a verdict on who you are. It is a condition, with a biology and a history and a great deal of accumulated human knowledge devoted to understanding it and easing it. You do not have to carry it alone, and you do not have to carry it forever. For now, though, the night is here, and we have something quieter to offer. In the second part of tonight, we are going to move into a guided meditation, something slow and gentle, designed to work with the particular ways that depression affects the body and the mind, to help ease some of the physical tension that comes with it, to help the nervous system find its way towards something softer, to invite the kind of deep, slow rest that the brain, in its quiet wisdom, is always reaching for. You don't need to do anything to prepare. You are already where you need to be. Just let yourself settle a little further into wherever you are lying, and we will begin. You have been carrying something heavy today. Maybe you have been carrying it for a long time. And it is okay that you are here, right now, lying down, letting this be the one thing you do for a little while. Just this. Just rest. You do not have to fix anything tonight. You do not have to understand anything, or solve anything, or be any different from exactly what you are in this moment. The only thing being asked of you right now is to let yourself be still. And you are already doing that. You are already here. So let your body settle a little more into whatever you are resting on. Feel the surface beneath you, the mattress, the pillow, the warmth of the blankets if you have them. Let that surface hold you. It is strong enough. You do not have to hold yourself up anymore tonight. Just let yourself be held. When depression has been present, the body tends to work very hard without us realizing it. There is a kind of bracing that happens, a low, constant tension, as though the body is always preparing for something difficult, as though it has been standing guard for a long time. You can stand down now. Whatever your body has been guarding against, whatever it has been bracing for, it does not need to do that work tonight. Tonight there is nothing to protect yourself from. There is only this room, this quiet, this gentle darkness. And there is you, lying here, giving yourself permission to rest. That permission is enough. It is more than enough. It is, in fact, a kind of courage to lie down and say, I am going to let go for a little while, to say, I am going to let sleep come. So just settle a little more, shift if you need to, find the position that feels most like letting go. And when you find it, let your body become a little heavier there. Let the weight of the day begin to pour out of you, down through the mattress, down through the floor, down into the earth far below. You do not need to carry it any more tonight. Now, gently, without any effort at all, bring your attention to your breath. Not to change it, not to control it, just to notice it. Feel the air as it moves in. Feel the gentle rise, the chest, the belly lifting just slightly. And then the slow fall as the breath leaves. The body releasing. The body knowing exactly what to do. Your breath has been with you every moment of your life. Through everything you have been through, it has stayed. It has kept this quiet rhythm going. In and out. In and out. Without you ever having to ask it to. There is something restful in that if you let yourself feel it. The breath does not need you to manage it. It knows its own way. So just follow it, like watching a gentle wave come in toward the shore and then drawing back again. You are just watching from somewhere soft and in and out. Let the breath be a little slower now if it wants to be. Not forced, just allowed. Sometimes when we simply pay attention, the breath finds its own way to something quieter, something more spacious. Feel the space between the in-breath and the out-breath. That little pause, that soft moment of fullness before the release. Rest there for just a heartbeat, and then let it go. And feel the space after the out-breath before the next one comes. That quiet moment of emptiness, of rest. The body knowing the next breath will arrive so it can be still for just a moment. Rest there too. In, pause, out, pause. And again, in, pause, out, pause. You are doing so well. Just breathing, just being here. Now, very gently, you are going to move your attention through your body, from the very top of your head all the way down to your feet, not to check on anything, not to find what is wrong, just to visit each part of yourself with a little kindness, a little warmth. Like someone going through a quiet house at the end of a long day, turning off the lights in each room. There is no hurry. Each room gets its moment. Begin at the very top of your head. Your scalp. Notice whatever is there, any tension, any tightness, any places where you've been holding without knowing it. And just let your attention rest there, gently, like a warm hand. You can release that now. Feel the scalp soften. Feel the skin relax. The muscles just beneath the surface, the ones that have been quietly gripping all day, they can let go now. They can be still. Let that softening spread down across your forehead. The forehead often carries so much. The worry lines, the furrowed brow, the silent effort of trying to figure things out. Let all of that smooth away now. Let the forehead become wide and calm and still, like a quiet lake when the wind has stopped. Let that ease move down to your eyebrows, your eyelids. Let the eyes be completely at rest behind those closed lids. There is nothing to see right now, nothing to look for. The eyes can be still. The eyes can be soft. And your cheeks, your nose. The small muscles all across your face that have been holding expression all day. The ones that have been working to appear okay, or to hold back tears, or just to get through. They can rest now. Let your face become very soft, very still. Let it be a face that is simply resting. Your mouth, your lips. Let them part just slightly if that feels natural. Let the jaw drop a little. The jaw is one of the places we hold the most. All the words we did not say, all the things we swallowed down. Let the jaw be heavy now. Let it hang. Let there be a little space between the upper and lower teeth. Just soft. Just heavy. Just resting. And your ears. Let the sounds around you be distant and unimportant. They do not need your attention. They can be part of the background, like the sound of rain far away. Your ears can soften too. And the back of your head, the base of your skull. Feel where your head rests against the pillow and let it sink a little deeper. Let the pillow take the full weight of your head. You do not have to hold it up. It is safe to let go. Now your neck. The neck carries so much. The weight of the head, the tension of the shoulders, the tightness of worry. Take a moment here. Feel the muscles along the sides of your neck, the long muscles that run from behind your ears down to your shoulders. Just notice them and let them soften. Let them become a little longer, a little looser, like a rope that has been pulled tight, slowly being let out. The back of your neck, the muscles there, deep and close to the spine. Let them release. Let the neck be long and easy and free. And now your shoulders. This is where so many of us live, high up in the shoulders, braced, held up, ready. Let them drop now. Actually, let them fall. Let them roll back and down, just slightly, finding their natural resting place. Let them be heavy. Depression can make the shoulders curl inward, as though protecting the heart. And that is okay. That protection has made sense. But right now, in this safe and quiet place, you can let them open just a little. You do not have to be defended. You can be soft. Let the warmth of release move through your shoulders now, down into your upper arms. The biceps, the triceps, all the muscles of the upper arm. They can let go completely. They do not need to be ready for anything. They can just be heavy and warm and still. Down through the elbows, into the forearms. You might notice a kind of tingling sometimes as the muscles release. That is just the body remembering how to rest. Let it move through. Into your wrists, your hands. Let your hands rest completely. Palms down or palms up, whichever feels like letting go. And feel the warmth in the hands. Sometimes when we release tension there, the hands become noticeably warm. That is the blood moving freely. That is the body returning to ease. Your hands can be still now. They have done enough. Let your attention drift down now to your chest. Your heart. Depression often lives here. There is a heaviness that can settle in the chest, a kind of ache, a weight, a pressure. If you feel any of that right now, you do not have to make it go away. You do not have to fight it or fix it. Just let your attention rest there, very gently, like sitting quietly beside something that is hurting. Just being present with it, without trying to change it. You are not alone in this room tonight. Something kind is here with you. Something that does not need you to be anything other than what you are. Let your chest rise and fall with the breath. Feel the expansion, the release. And with each breath out, imagine just a little of that heaviness leaving. Not all of it, not forced, just the little bit that is ready to go, the breath carrying it gently out. And the muscles of the chest, the broad muscles across the front, the ones that have been holding tight, let them soften. Let the chest be wide and open and easy. The ribs expanding with each breath. And the space between the ribs, the intercostal muscles, let them be loose. Let there be room for the breath to move freely, down into your belly. The abdomen. This is where we hold our deepest tension, often without knowing it. The gut that has been clenched, the stomach that has been tight with anxiety or sadness or simply the effort of existing. Let the belly soften completely. Let it rise and fall freely with the breath. Let there be no holding, no bracing, no sucking in. Just the belly, soft and round and easy, moving with the breath like a gentle tide. Feel the warmth spreading through the center of your body. A deep interior warmth, like sunlight soaking slowly through layers of earth, reaching all the way down through you. Your lower back. The muscles on either side of the spine, deep and often exhausted. Let them release. Let the whole length of your back sink into the surface beneath you. Feel every part of the back that is in contact with the mattress, and let that contact be complete. Let there be no part of you holding yourself up from below. You are fully supported, every inch of you. And now your hips, the pelvis. This is a place that holds a great deal, often without our awareness. The deep muscles of the hips, the hip flexors that have been braced, the glutes that have been held, let them all release now. Let the hips be heavy. Let them sink down. Simena. Let the legs roll outward just slightly if they want to. That natural outward rotation of the legs. That is the body's resting position. That is the body saying, I am safe. I can let go. Down through your thighs. The large muscles of the upper leg, front and back. Let them be completely soft, completely heavy, as though they are made of warm sand and the sand is slowly settling. Past the knees, let the knees be easy. There is no need to hold them in any particular position. Just let them rest where they fall. Down through the calves. The muscles at the back of the lower leg, which have been working all day, keeping you upright, keeping you moving. They can rest now. They can be soft and heavy and still. Down through the ankles. Let the ankles be loose. Let any tension there dissolve. And into your feet. The soles of your feet. The heels. The arches. The toes. Let the toes uncurl if they have been curled. Let each toe be separate and relaxed and free. Let the feet be heavy. Let them sink into the mattress. Your entire body, from the top of your head to the tips of your toes, is now soft and heavy and resting. Every part of you has been visited. Every part of you has been given permission to let go. And you have let go. You are here. You are resting. You are safe. Now, very gently, let your mind begin to drift. Imagine that you are somewhere very quiet, very soft, a place that feels safe in the way that only a few places in your life have ever felt, where nothing is required of you, where nothing can reach you, where you are simply allowed to be. Perhaps it is a room, a small, warm room with soft light. The light is golden and low, like late afternoon in autumn, and it comes through a window that looks out onto something peaceful. A garden, perhaps, or a field, or just the soft blur of trees in the distance. The room is warm. The right temperature. You are lying on something impossibly comfortable, and the blankets are exactly as heavy as you need them to be. There is a sound somewhere at the edge of your awareness. Maybe it is rain on a window. Maybe it is the distant sound of wind moving through leaves. Maybe it is a fire somewhere nearby, the soft crackle and settle of it. Whatever sound feels like peace to you, let that be the sound of this place. And let yourself sink into this place. Feel the weight of your body against whatever you are resting on here. Feel how supported you are. Feel how completely this place holds you. Depression can make the world feel very small and very grey, but in this place, the colours are soft and warm. In this place, the weight you carry is allowed to be set down at the door. You do not need to bring it with you here. You can leave it outside just for a little while. Just for tonight. Imagine, if you like, that the weight you have been carrying has a form. It might look like a heavy coat, damp and dark, or a stone you have been holding in your hands, or simply a shadow that has been walking beside you. And here, at the door of this quiet place, you are allowed to set it down. You do not have to throw it away. You do not have to pretend it is not yours. You simply set it down gently and step inside. And the door closes behind you. And you are here. The warmth of this place is very real. You can feel it in your hands, in your chest, moving slowly through your whole body like something gentle being poured in. And with each breath, the warmth deepens. Each time you breathe out, you sink a little further into this softness, a little heavier, a little more still. Your thoughts may still be moving. That is okay. Depression sometimes brings thoughts that circle and circle, that replay and revisit. If thoughts are moving through your mind right now, you do not have to stop them. You do not have to push them away. Just let them be like leaves on a slow river. They are moving past. They are not you. You are the riverbank, still and quiet and here. Let the thoughts move. And let your attention rest here in this warm and quiet place. You might notice that your body is becoming very heavy now. Your limbs feel as though they are sinking slowly, gently, into something soft and deep. This is not a frightening heaviness. This is the heaviness of true rest. The heaviness of a body that is finally being allowed to let go. Let that heaviness spread through your arms, your legs, your chest, your face. Even your thoughts are becoming a little heavier, a little slower. They are losing their sharp edges. They are becoming softer, vaguer, like shapes in fog. That is sleep beginning to come. Let it come. You do not have to chase it. You do not have to make it happen. Sleep is already on its way. It has been waiting for you to be still enough to receive it. And you are still enough now. In this warm and quiet place, you are not depressed or not depressed. You are not struggling or not struggling. You are simply a person resting. Simply a body breathing. Simply a mind growing quiet. The day is over. Whatever it held, the heaviness, the flatness, the effort of getting through, it is over now. It is behind you. And whatever tomorrow holds, it is not here yet. There is only this moment, this breath, this warmth. And this moment is enough. You are enough. Even now, even exactly as you are enough. Let that thought be very soft, not a demand. Not something you have to believe completely right now. Just a possibility, offered gently, like a hand held out in the dark. And you are resting. And that is all. The light in this quiet place is growing softer now. The golden warmth is deepening, becoming something more like the last light before sleep. The edges of things are becoming less distinct. The room, the warmth, the sound. It is all blending together into something seamless and soft. Your breath is very slow now. Very easy. You are barely aware of it. It is just happening, somewhere in the background, like the sound of rain, like a heartbeat, like the slow turning of the world. Your body is so heavy, so warm, so deeply, completely at rest. The thoughts have grown very quiet. If one drifts through, it moves slowly, like a cloud across a dark and gentle sky. And then it is gone, and the sky is clear and still. You are drifting now, not falling. Drifting. Like something carried on a very slow current, like a leaf on still water, barely moving, just resting on the surface. And the surface is warm, and the current is gentle, and there is nowhere else to be. Whatever pain has lived in you, it is resting too. Even the heaviness rests, even the sadness grows quiet in sleep. Your body knows how to heal in the dark, in the stillness, in the deep hours when the mind has finally let go. So let your mind let go now. A little more. And a little more. The warmth is all through you. Your eyes are heavy behind their lids. Your breath is soft and slow. Your hands are still. Your body is sinking, slowly, gently, into the deep and restful dark. You are safe here. You are held here. Too off, nothing is needed of you. This. Just rest. Just the slow breath. In. J and out. Warmth. The quiet. The dark. Ging. Qua e. Vigil.